Assalamualaikum and hello. My name is MOHAMAD ZIKRY bin JUMADI and my matrix number is BT2330367. The graph I use is polygon graph to explain the comparison relative frequency between customer satisfaction score, which is the blue line, and customer retention rate, which is the orange line. As you can see, the orange line, which is the customer retention rate, shows a fairly stable and slightly upward trend, which tells us that more customers are choosing to stay with the company over time. That is a strong sign of a loyalty or perhaps successful retention strategies. But then, if we look at the blue line representing customer satisfaction score, we can see much more movement. It fluctuates quite a bit, going through noticeable highs and lows. Besides that, those two lines do not always move together. There are periods where satisfaction drops, but retention holds steady or even increases. This tells us something important. While satisfaction is definitely related to retention, it is not the only factor. Things like brand loyalty, convenience, long-term contracts, or even the lack of better alternative might keep customer around, even when their satisfaction is not at its peak. Next, we move to OGIF graph. The OGIF graph illustrates the cumulative relative frequency trends of customer satisfaction score, which is the blue line, and customer retention rate, which is the orange line, highlighting their aggregate progress over time. The customer satisfaction score exhibits a steeper cumulative increase initially, suggesting rapid improvements in customer satisfaction early in the period, while the customer retention rate rises more gradually, reflecting slower but steady growth in loyalty. Over time, both lines trends upward, indicating a positive relationship between the two lines. As the time progresses, implies that retention gains may eventually align more closely with accumulated satisfaction levels, even if short-term fluctuations in satisfaction are smoothed out by cumulative analysis. This underscores the compounding impact of sustained satisfaction efforts on fostering enduring customer loyalty, while also hinting that retention may depend on additional factors beyond immediate satisfaction metrics.
Greetings, my name is FIEDVIAN RANGKASAN and my matrix number is BB233030897. Now I will be explaining about the question and comparison measure of the central location between the two key metrics. The first measurement is mean. The mean for all the company's customer satisfaction rate is 84.23%, while the mean for all the company customer retention rate is 74.07%. Here we can see that the company have a customer satisfaction rate higher compared to customer retention rate. The second measurement is median. The median for all the company customer satisfaction rate is 85%, while the median for all the company customer retention rate is 74%. Here we can see again that the customer satisfaction rate for median is higher compared to customer retention rate. The last measurement is MOHD. The MOHD for all the company customer satisfaction rate is 85% and 88%, while the customer retention rate is 68 and 80%. Here you can see again the same pattern that the company have the frequent number of customer satisfaction rate for 85% and 88%, while the customer retention rate is 68% and 80%. In conclusion, we can see that the all measurement for the company's customer satisfaction rate is overall higher compared to customer retention rate. Here we can see that although their customer being satisfied with their product and service, but it doesn't convert them fully into a fully loyalty customer. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Nur Ain Shuhada Binti Muhammad Nizam with my metric number BB233030973. So in this part, I'll show you how to calculate percentiles and create a box plot for two important metrics, which in this case are customer satisfaction score and customer retention rate. These steps help us understand the data better and show the spread and center clearly. First, we begin by arranging the data in ascending order. Then we find the position of the percentile using the formula shown on the slide. This tells us where the percentile lies in the data set. Once we know the position, we use it to find the value of the percentile. Now let's look at how we apply this to the actual data. For each percentile, we check where it falls on the sorted list. Sometimes it lands between two values, so we estimate the number in between. This helps us to find the first quartile, the median, and the third quartile. For customer retention rate, the percentiles fall directly on the data points, so we don't need to estimate anything. For example, if the 25th percentile is between two values that are the same, we just take that value as the answer. Once we have our percentiles, we can create a box plot. This plot shows the minimum, maximum, and the three percentiles, which is Q1, Q2, and Q3. It gives us a quick view of how the scores are spread out and helps us compare both metrics. To conclude, percentiles and box plots help us make sense of the data quickly. They show us where most companies stand and help spot anything unusual. This makes it easier to understand customer performance at a glance.
My name is NORFARHANA and my matrix number is BB233110610, and I will present the part 4 of the assignment, which is to calculate and compare the measure of dispersion between the two key metrics. Range. To calculate the range, we subtract the minimum value from the maximum value. So for customer satisfaction score, the range is 23. For customer retention rate, the range is 28. Mean absolute deviation or MAD. To calculate MAD, add up all the distances from the mean and ignore minus sign, then divide it by the number of data. Customer satisfaction score, the mean is 84.23. So for each company, we calculate how far their value is from the mean. We take the absolute value of each deviation, ignoring all the negative signs. Then we add up all these absolute values, which gives us a total of 146.54. So we divide this by the number of the companies, which is 30. So the MAD for customer satisfaction score is 4.88. Customer retention rate, the mean is 74.07. Then the total sum of the absolute value is 172.14, and we divide this by 30. And the MAD for customer retention rate is 5.74. Variance and standard deviation. The formula for variance deviation is the sum of the squared differences between each data point and the mean divided by the number of data minus with 1. And the formula for standard deviation is the square root of variance. For customer satisfaction score, the mean is 84.23. Then for each company, we subtract the mean from the score and remove negative values, and then add up all the squared values, and the total sum of the squared deviation is 1043.37. Find the variance, we divide 1043.37 by 29, which is 30 minus 1, and we get a variance of 35.98. And to find the standard deviation, we take the square root of the variance, which is the square root of 35.98. And the standard deviation for customer satisfaction score is, for customer retention rate, the mean is 74.07, and the total sum of the squared deviation is 1425.87. To find the variance, we divide 1425.87 by 29, and we get a variance of 49.17. And to find the standard deviation, we take the square root of the variance, which is the square root of 49.17, and the standard deviation for customer retention rate is 7.01. Lastly, we have the coefficient of variation, or CV. The formula for CV is the standard deviation divided by the customer satisfaction score. The standard deviation is 6 and the mean is 84.23. So CV is calculated as 6 divided by 84.23, which equals to 0.07. And as for customer retention rate, the standard deviation is 7.01 and the mean is 74.07. So the CV is 7.01 divided by 74.07, which gives us 0.09. And that's all for me. Thank you.
Hi, I'm NORSYAFIKAH binti SAMIL and my matrix number is BT233030947. For part 5, I will be sharing how to calculate and interpret the measure of association between two variables, customer satisfaction and customer retention. To find out the relationship between these two, I use two methods. The first one is covariance. This is the formula to calculate covariance. After doing the calculation, I got a result of 39.81 and it's a positive value. A positive covariance means that when customer satisfaction increases, customer retention also increases. However, this number alone doesn't tell us how strong the relationship is. So next, I calculated the correlation coefficient, which is the second method. This is the formula to calculate correlation coefficient. After doing the calculation, I got a value of 0.95, which is very close to 1. This means the relationship is very strong and positive. So, in simple terms, if a company improves customer satisfaction, there's a high chance that customers will stay loyal for a longer time. This kind of result is helpful for businesses. It shows that keeping customers happy can really help them keep their customer long term. Thank you.